Hello and welcome to this episode of Confused. Today we're going to talk about what really does the change in mindset mean. We've seen a lot of these terms that are currently coming up on social media or on online blogs or things that we're reading that we need to adapt, and there has to be this change in mindset because we are all living in a new reality right now. Where we cannot control the externals, but then how do we respond? So let's have a discussion, Julian, about what does this change in mindset involve? How do we do it, and how do we make sense of it, and what does it mean?
Yeah, I think, there's a whole raft of stuff that are going to be changing. People working from home, different ways of approaching this sort of working. One of the key things, again, is going to be down to communication and ensuring that a lot of the microaggressions that are out there in the past and some of the assumptions about when people, in inverted commas, work from home need to be thought about and avoided. There are aspects where, the old jokes of, oh, you're working from home, must be nice, all those sort of little comments that really don't help. Now is the time to trust and empower your staff and actually shift the way a lot of people manage. They're going to need to actually manage like human beings, and instead of putting pressure on their staff, they're going to have to work with them and communicate. This is going to be the critical thing, is communicate to their staff, ensure that they have the resources, that they have the support, and they have the help they need, because one of the other aspects of working from home is that it can be quite lonely as well.
Yeah. And all of this comes with that suddenly we all as humans have to be more humane in our behavior, in our understanding, and give people time, be it our staff, be it people that we work with or we collaborate with, give them time to kind of settle into this new environment now, because it's a big change. You're not commuting anymore. It's a big change to the routine. Now, there will be some people who will take this in their stride and they'll be able to kind of adapt really quickly, which is great, because then you can see in these scenarios especially is there's certain part of the crowd which are able to kind of get on with this and keep moving, whereas there will be some amongst us who will need a little bit more help, a little bit more encouragement and motivation to keep going. And there, that's where, as a leader or as a person or as a human, you need to kind of look at this collectively and say, okay, I'm good at this. I'm making sense of this in this way. I'm going to share how I'm making sense of it all and see and help others out there who can actually also come on to this.
Yeah. We're in changing times, and I think one of the key things of this is understanding that the change will need different methods, different approaches, different ways of looking at how you manage your staff, different ways about how you communicate your staff, and this is where it comes back to the business living up to its brand. If your business actually says it's a caring organisation, well, it better act like one now, and understand that your staff are going to be overcoming difficulties in order to produce what you need. The staff are going to be, doing stuff whereby, they have to deal with perhaps their children being at home. They have to deal with aged relatives, where they have to deal with various different things where social interactions as we took them for granted in the past are going to be more difficult. And even with them, maybe needing to go at different times to go and get supplies rather than the old certainties that we used to have, there's going to have to be a lot more flexibility, and there's going to have to be a lot more humanity in the way we relate to one another.
Yeah. And I think from that point of view as well, for all of us, especially leaders leading an organization or working with people, these scenarios will be really changed because will be really stressful. Not only they themselves have to adapt and think forward, but they have to make sure that their teams and people and their brands and businesses are coming along with them. Even around things that how do you keep things sane? How do you still have your Friday coffee catch-ups online, or how do you still connect with people when you can no longer go to their desk and have a chat about something? But then still, how do you connect? Because it's not going to be all about work. It's still going to be tapping them online and saying, "Are you okay? What's going on today? Tell me, how are things?" And listen, having the time to listen, despite of the fact that as leaders, their priorities have also changed completely. So that balance will be quite critical. And we're all going to be in this extra level of pressure around this time.
Exactly right. It's going to be interesting times. It's that good old-fashioned Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. I think it's
we're living it.
We are living it at the current time, and I think it will be interesting. And I think I'm actually optimistic that I think this will be a catalyst for change. Yes. And it will force change on a lot of organizations. And one of the interesting parts of this as well is going to come in driving it back towards marketing and communication. This is going to be an aspect where communication within the business and without the business is going to be absolutely vital. And people are going to be spending more time looking for information. And this is where I think, looking at the market, looking at there's going to be more podcasts, there's going to be more webinars, there's going to be more online communication where people will start changing the way they work. It wouldn't surprise me if at the other end of all this we have a fundamental shift in the way that we work in the future, which will cause change, will be good and bad, but it's one of those catalysts that causes change in the world.
And which is such an amazing part of it, because now that we're forced into this new reality, we all will learn how to adapt and learn from the experience that we need to change certain aspects. We need to be better prepared. But we can never control externals, but at the same time, how do we get better prepared and arm ourselves with things that can help us survive certain scenarios? Like, who would have thought remote working or working from home would become a national or a global thing all at once? We all had these policies where it was good, a nice to have, and suddenly a nice to have has become an essential to keep up, not only for work, but even for keeping in touch with our near and dear ones, and even in keeping with touch with the wider community. It's suddenly become essential. We need to be able to connect. So those are the things. You're right, absolutely right. This has now forced people to change, and they will all absorb this. And I agree. There will be a change for the better when we come out of this.
Yep, I'm fairly optimistic. But, it's going to be something that different methods of communication and different ways of thinking about communicating to people are going to become imperative. The old stuff won't keep working anymore. And the access, one of the key things about this process as well, is the access to accurate, reliable information about what's going on has been shown to be really needed and really underlined, and genuine information. It comes back to what, we've been saying for a while, is it comes back to genuine, believable information that is based upon the core values of, truth, honesty. This is what we know so far, and really stopping the hype and the BS. This is a time where the need for genuine human communications and for businesses to actually show that they care, that they're thinking, and that they are humane and human is going to become more and more important and be actually vital.
Yeah. And with that, let's hope we all are able to be a little bit more flexible in our approach and hold on to those human behaviors and tactics in the way we respond to people that we work with. Also, thank you, Julian. Thank you for your time, and I really appreciate that we can have these discussions and talk more about what's going on. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Bye.